I wanted to hate that song so much, and it's been stuck in my head all day. The only way to get it out is with a bullet.
Well, I'll see you soon, Grandpa. Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That's a whole new discography per episode, and even short ones like this one. My name is Michael Mansour, and I'm joined, as always, by my Iowan co-host, Alexander Volch. Say hello.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. And today we'll be discussing every album or record by
Operation Ivy.
All right, let's get something straight here. If you're an Operation Ivy fan and you clicked on this, I'm sorry. This is not your fault. You clicked on a thing with a band that you like. I didn't choose to listen to this. And my words are my own. My opinions are my own, okay? That's what I have to say out the gate. Because this is not my first time listening to this band, by the way. I've heard them for many years, and I have lots of thoughts, Alex. Do you have thoughts?
I'm so shocked you have thoughts. This is actually my first time listening to the band. And
no way.
Yeah, I don't know how I went 37 years of my life without listening to them. And I don't hate it.
You don't. So, you know what? That's a little bit of my prediction. I had a feeling that you would be, maybe it wouldn't have been exactly your thing because we've talked shit about ska quite a bit on this podcast.
Yes, sir.
But you also, I know you have a fondness for Bad Religion and 90s era punk. So I figured you'd be fine with it. And listeners of the podcast know that I am not fine with it.
No. I thought this was going to be like the worst versions of punk or ska in my head, and it was actually like a level of ska I could tolerate and that I thought was okay. Like, I think the Police have done worse ska songs, in my opinion.
I'm gonna say actually yes. I don't really like the Police. I think, whatever, we have controversial opinions on the Police, I think, both of us, but good band, but overrated as fuck.
Did you watch that video of Stuart Copeland? They have that drum channel where they like play a song for drummers and they lay their own drum track down.
No, I have not seen this. No, I have not.
I think it's like rigged. Like, sometimes I'm like, there's no way. It's supposed to be a song the drummer has never heard. But there's just some songs where I'm like, there ain't no way. There's no way. Anyways, Stuart Copeland.
He could just be that good.
Well, no, it's not that like what they're playing is bad. It's just like some songs I don't believe the drummer has like never heard it. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. He could just be that good where he just picked it up. Pick it up. Anyways, he did a Limp Bizkit song and
shut the fuck up. Oh man. Yes, dude.
Up. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was Rolling. They had him do Rolling. It fucking ruled.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's like my favorite drummer that plays music that I hate.
Yeah, he's
delightful.
The ego's the size of Jupiter, but he's very talented.
He even admitted that on the episode. Yeah. Anyways,
all of them. The only one that actually rules is Andy Summers. He rules. He straight up rules.
But
whatever the fuck are we talking about?
This is a short thing. I'll talk about the Police. Andy Summers.
Let's talk about the fucking Police. You know what? Let's go back to episode 5 where we discussed the full discography. We'll do it all over again and we'll run it back.
Yeah.
Those last 3 albums fucking stunk. Let's just call it what it is. Last 2 albums. Last two albums.
Andy Summers didn't write Behind My Camel, and that's all. That was the last one I wanted to.
Andy Summers did though.
I thought that was all Copeland.
No, Andy Summers is the one behind my camel, right? Yeah, Andy Summers.
Oh shit. Okay, never mind.
See, he's the man, dude. He's the man. He's the real brains behind the band.
I thought it was that everyone. Oh no, yeah,
it was not very popular with the other 2 bandmates, especially Sting.
yeah, okay, yeah. Andy Summers all day. Yeah.
Oh shit. So,
okay.
Operation Ivy, we've joked about covering Operation Ivy since the beginning of this podcast.
The dawn of time, yeah.
Yeah, five and a half years ago at this point. It's always been a thing, and I thought you knew them, or I thought you'd heard them. That's why I thought you were like joking about it. Like, that's a good joke, Alex. I don't ever want to fucking cover this band. And what do you know? It's the first episode of 2025. We have no short albums to cover because the year just started and there's no new albums that have come out yet for us. So we had to do something that we can do quickly. And we ended up getting stuck with it.
with some name recognition.
more or less. So I'm already talking shit, but the reason I talk shit is just, it's not because I think 90s punk is bad. It's not because I think Rancid is a horrible fucking band. I'm obsessed with hardcore punk, and my years are 76 to 86, more or less. There's some exceptions where, like, there's a few albums that I love that came out like 87, and 88 is when it starts moving into different genres. When it comes to straight up punk and hardcore punk, 80 to 86. That's like, I was so strict about that as a teenager, because teenagers are very dogmatic, as we know, and they make rules and they refuse to bend those rules. But that was when I first started getting into punk, and later on, I just didn't like the 90s style. I didn't like the Rancid. This is like, Operation Ivy's late 80s. But it still has that style, that extremely, they like their happy songs. I don't know how else to put it. They like happy music. They're happy punks.
Yeah, I don't care what you say. 90s punk bands can, like, they know their hooks. And I feel like these guys in Bad Religion pretty much like laid the formula down for, a band like Pennywise or Social D. And
Social D came way before. Social D was early 80s.
Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah. I don't know my fucking years or who came first, but
and this is the thing, I don't like Social D. Love their first album. I think they have their Mommy's Little Monsters. I think it was 83. Great album. I think it still holds up today.
I listened to one of their albums as a young man, and I hated it. I haven't revisited them, so I can't say anything in concrete. But it just felt like every song should have been 2 minutes,
and it was longer.
They're all 5 and 6 minutes.
You know what? Let me do a little double take to see how long these songs are, because I have such fond memories of their first album. And first album is totally, it's for 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. The closer is 5 minutes, but it feels like a Mole Threat. It's a very epic closer. And the album is 27 minutes. It's fantastic. I still stand by Mommy's Little Monster.
Yeah. Also, I listened to the self-titled album, and then really the only thing I'm talking about is Ball and Chain, because looking at the runtimes on the songs, they don't look that egregious, but oh no, Story of My Life is Ball and Chain.
Story of My Life. I know. Okay, I know that. I could see why you wouldn't like that song. I don't like that song either. I get it. But so you're a fan of the hooks. So this band, this era, whole era of punk rock, whatever. It's so taste dependent. It's so taste dependent because either you like the style or you don't fucking like the style. I can say the same about earlier hardcore punk, except for I can make exceptions with bands like Minor Threat, where you look like those are just creative ass riffs that are extremely well written, great songwriters in the package of hardcore punk. Black Flag, a very extremely innovative band in the package of hardcore punk in the early days, and then whatever the fuck it turned into later on. Minutemen, really creative songwriters in the form of this funky, strange, funk snappy hardcore punk. Like, those are like exceptions, but as a whole, you can point to like that's that style of hardcore punk. Bands like, I don't fucking know, Void, both Youth Brigade, one from DC, one from LA. You can point to all kinds of bands that like, okay, they're playing fast, they're shouting. It has a certain feel to it, has a certain style. It is very different from the 90s style, which is a lot more poppy, I think happier, and slurrier, maybe for vocally.
Yeah, there's still some angst there, but there was definitely like this sounds insulting, but I just mean it as a neutral term, the Mountain Dewification of punk rock, where it was like very associated with like the X Games and skateboarding, and even skateboarding itself used to be this outsider thing, and it got like co-opted and turned into this weird corporate,
like everything,
and I don't know what the state of skateboarding is these days, but yeah, I think like skateboarding and punk rock kind of had that in common in the mid to late 90s. And yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of outgrew it, but like I still think like Green Day has some great albums. I s- I stopped like caring about what they did after American Idiot because it's just I don't know, like it this they lost their juice to me. I even like I they put an album out last year and I tried. I'm like it is what it is. And or like I remember I went through like a phase where I was like, man, the Offspring sucks. And then I came back around. I was like, that Smash album, there's some good fucking songs on there.
Never gave them a fair shot. I've been told that at least the first album is like, all right, you got to give it up for the first album. I'm not gonna smash fucking Offspring. There's like there's stuff that I get why people would like it. I get that there are hooks. There are some bands. I mean, even the Green Day stuff. I don't like Green Day. I do not like Green Day. But I'm not gonna deny that there's like, oh, that's a very catchy song, obviously. But
Trey Cool was like one of my favorite drummers for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But you're talking about the skateboard thing. Skateboarding has always been associated with punk since the early 80s.
Yeah.
And you get bands like JFA, JD Foster's Army, and then I just think of a bunch of like obviously like SoCal bands, even though they weren't SoCal. And then it's a good example of like that style of punk where you feel like I think of bands like fucking Jerry's Kids. I think those are from Boston, and like a lot of bands are just sort of if you like the genre, they all feel the same. You could of course find your favorites and you could pick apart which things you like more or less, but it all sounded like the era, and that's how I feel about Operation Ivy, with the added, in my taste, detriment of the ska, because there's a lot of ska, baby. There's a lot of ska here.
There's a lot of ska, and I was pleased that there weren't horns. There isn't white guys doing Jamaican accents.
Not yet. I mean, that's Rancid.
That is a different animal, and I never. They felt like Social D to me, where like they had this like badass image, and then I listened to them, and I was like, "This is."
Yeah.
It kind of felt like the punk version of Kiss, where I thought it was going to be the most.
Kiss still has some good songs. I still like Kiss.
Sure, but for me, where I thought it was going to be like the most, like, man, look at these dudes. They're called Rancid, and like I thought it was going to be the most evil sounding thing ever, and it wasn't.
No, yeah, for sure. It's not very mean. It's all very. I mean, that's my main gripe with this. It's technically a compilation. It's a compilation of an EP and an album, and then 2 compilation tracks. But this whole package, it's like, yeah, every song is so fucking happy. Everything is so happy. The same major key riffs, and it's cool for a little bit. And I get, especially with some variation in like the arrangements. It's like, okay, that feels different enough. But like after when you hit fucking track 17, like, oh, this is just the same fucking riff over and over again, basically.
Yeah, I think the riffs definitely got repetitive for me, but basically I just boiled it down to like, this is like what Minor Threat is to like straight edge punk. This is like the 90s ska whatever version of that. You got the one album with I'm assuming every song they've recorded.
More, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So like I always come back to that, because I remember the first time I listened, that was like a different like, what the fuck did I just listen to? And
you mean Minor Threat?
Yeah, and every song sounded the same. I was on record saying that, and then on listens I like grew to love it front to back.
I was thinking about the Minor Threat comparison, which is, I mean, it's not a fair comparison. Yeah, they're both punk, but they're both very different kinds of
apples.
punk.
It is apples and oranges.
But I was thinking of like, why do I have such reverence for Minor Threat? And why do I'm so lukewarm and borderline just in pain with this? And I'm thinking back to Minor Threat songs, and you look at like, okay, well, you pull a song like the song Minor Threat and you compare it to another song, Bottled Violence, on the same EP. They're 2 completely different types of songs. They're both hardcore punk songs, but one is happy and one is dark and mean. And that's that simple, tiny little thing. It's like, oh, well, they still, or like the Screaming at a Wall is a little bit more frantic and ugly. Like they do, even though they're still doing the same shit every song, there's at least variance in moods and styles at least in feel. This is, you get the variance in, this is more ska, this one's more punk, this one's really fast, this one's a little bit slower, this one has a little bit of reggae, this one has, but writing wise, they're all the same. That's what drove me fucking crazy in the end.
Yeah, the lyrics are very, very punk rock. There's nothing, like, man, like how prolific or ahead of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, I was fine with that.
So we have some notes here from my boy Tom Osman, who you should all go support and follow. Yeah, there's a just brief discography, brief episode, brief notes. There's just a little small interview with vocalist Jesse Michaels from 2010 from is this Juicy? I believe, yeah, Juicy. And it is a band that paved the way for Rancid. And honestly, I don't like. No surprise that we keep mentioning Rancid is not our thing. I do like the song "Time Bomb." It's a fun song, and
that is a fun song.
I'll give it up for that song every day, any day of the week, 100%. Aside from that, probably not for me.
I forget what episode it was, but I've seen Rancid perform one song because there's a wrestler named Ruby Soho. Because when she left WWE, I forget what her name was before, and she's friends with Lars Fredrickson, not Ulrich.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, you should call yourself Ruby Soho, and we will let AEW license the music.
Oh wow!
And so I went to an event in Vegas, and they played her out. I was
That's
like,
pretty
this
sick.
is so fucking random.
That's pretty cool. That's actually very cool. But yeah, so we got Jesse Michaels on lead vocals, Tim Armstrong, or Lint as he's called here, on guitar, backup vocals, Matt Freeman on bass, Matt McCall Freeman on bass, and Dave Mello on drums. And yeah, very, 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 very short discography. They put out one EP in 1988 and then one full length in 1989. And what we're covering here is a 2007 compilation with both the EP and the full length, as well as 2 compilation tracks. And it's all very succinct. It's 50 minutes long. It has it all. No, don't need to go anywhere else. It's very, very concise and easy. This piece says right here, Operation Ivy started in 1987 and broke up in 1989. It's punk rock legend that the band broke up to avoid selling out. 2 of the band members wanted to form Rancid, but little was heard from the Op Ivy singer Jesse Michaels. People speculated to his whereabouts in the years after Operation Ivy, and rumors abounded about his journeys across the world and his time in a monastery. Eventually, he reemerged to form the band Common Rider, followed by a brief solo stint. Most recently, he's teamed up with the band Hard Girls to form Classics of Love.
Did he name that band after the Japanese character Kamen Rider? Is it like K-A?
It's just spelled like regular COMMON.
Common? Okay.
Yeah, it could be a reference to
Like
Kamen Rider.
Yeah.
Jesse is also the son of Leonard Michaels, who was considered by many to be one of the great modern Jewish writers. What the hell?
That's not Leonard Bernstein, though.
Could have changed it to Michaels. Yeah, even the person interviewing is like, this is the calls Operation Ivy one of the bands that got them through puberty. It's very much a band where, yes, I see this. You hear this at the right time. It's gonna fucking take you through that very difficult period. I didn't realize how many of these songs I knew just from friends always playing it around me. I thought I didn't put together that it was Operation Ivy until listening to this. So I've heard more of this than I thought, and I realized that I'd heard it a lot. So it's a style that definitely resonates with teenagers. I've never met an adult that never mind. I never meet adults with interesting taste in music generally, so can't really say that. But it does remind me of being a teenager. It just like the music. It was, even if it wasn't my particular bag, I didn't hate it as a teenager. It was just always around. Ska punk was just always around.
I could see myself listening to this if I had ventured into listening to it.
Yeah. So this is from Jesse. He says, when I grew up, you had these classic punk records, many of which no one has ever heard of anymore. There was the Bad Brains first album. Check out our full episode on the Bad Brains. Jerry's Kids, Is This My World? That is a good EP. I do like Jerry's Kids. 76% Uncertain. That was a Connecticut band. Their album Estimated Monkey Time was a classic to me. I was a big giant 76% Uncertain fan. That was a one of like, because at a certain point I got into all these ridiculously obscure punk bands from like, all over Europe and Scandinavia and wherever the fuck. 76% Uncertain was one of the rare ones from America that fucking nobody ever heard of. Like,
yeah, you and the Operation Ivy boys aren't so different after all.
I guess not. But the album he's talking about was their first album. They have a compilation that has everything they did. I think it's like they have like 2 albums in an EP or something. They're a fun ass band. They're good ass punk band. Super underrated. Goes on to say, then there were some bigger ones like Dead Kennedys and stuff. Check out episode Dead Kennedys. So here are these records that in my world are these huge things. I expected our record would be much smaller and less important than any of those. I thought we'd sell maybe 2,000 copies. But the great thing about punk is that it's a real medium. It's not a commercial album. It's not a marketing medium. Yeah, maybe not back then.
Well, yeah, not when they put their stuff out.
Not when they did it, yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that because it was punk, it would extend into the future, but I didn't expect it to expand. These old bands had sort of linear extension into the future. Same amount of people always liked them. But there's always someone new because it's real fucking rebel music and it's always going to have a life. I had no expectations that our record would expand or become more popular. That was completely surprising to me. That's how it goes. But
also, much like the Misfits, I think there's something about a good logo, and something about that logo just grabs people for whatever reason.
That first album, yeah, that silhouette man grabbing thing, grabbing the. Why is it and how is it? But it is.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like. Yeah, I feel like there were some kids just grabbing like cool looking patches and not like actually listening to the music.
That makes me think of a band that I liked a lot called Larm from the Netherlands. They were really, you can call them maybe a pioneer of grindcore. They were super duper ridiculous fast in like 84 and crazy cool band. And one of my favorite records from them was their first record. They put out a split with another band, and their side had like fucking 30 songs in 10 minutes or something like that. And their cover, the cover for their side of the split is like a cartoon of a cow being startled or something. It's like the dumbest looking fucking thing for this brutal music. And like I had a patch of it that my friend gave me because he didn't want it because he thought it was stupid. It's like,
yeah,
man, good marketing is important.
Hence, don't judge a book by its cover.
Indeed. But yeah, we might as well jump into the record, into the compilation, because on it opens with the record Energy from 1989, and it follows it up with the Hectic EP from 1988, and then it closes with the 2 compilation tracks. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Hell yes. This is, well, I guess Energy, 1989's Energy.
I know things are getting tougher when you can't get the top off the bottom of the barrel. Wide open, wrong the future now.
I remember what I was gonna say, but I'll let because it's relevant to this song too.
That is a punk rock vocalist. It's not
well,
bad. It's not my bag, but it's not bad.
It's not like much like emo music. Pop punk would turn into such a offensive, horrible monster. Like I like the gruffness here.
It is very raw.
What you got? Do it.
Man, he sounds like. Fuck, who's that singer? I'm gonna find out. He sounds like the singer from Jerry's Kids. Holy fucking shit!
Yeah, I'm not familiar, so I can't. Yeah,
that blew my mind because we've been mentioning. I've name dropped Jerry's Kids twice. once because he is in his quote. I'm like, who's that singer who's that band that he sounds like? It's fucking, yes, he sounds like the singer from Jerry's Kids.
So I wasn't expecting some like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like there were a few times where it reminded me of the Replacements, and I wasn't expecting that.
Like where?
Like that song. It's light and it's gruff and
yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right. It is. It is light. Replacements is a good example of light and gruff. It's because like what's his fucking face? I already forgot his name. Paul Westberg. There we go. His voice, it sounded like he came out of the womb with his vocal cords shredded and ruined already.
Yeah.
Like he has a destroyed voice. This guy sounds like he's not only trying to gruff it up, but that he's like a good singer. Like, because there's moments where there's some hilarious moments where he's going full vibrato and it comes out of nowhere and it's very jarring.
Yeah. But yeah, Knowledge, I was like pretty clever punk rock lyrics. The only thing I don't know is I don't know nothing or something like that.
Yeah.
The type of lyrics where is a youth, you're like, oh shit, okay. Like,
I get it. I feel you, brother. I feel you.
You think it's like the most clever thing because at that point in your life, it probably is the most clever thing you've heard.
Dude, like so many things what I felt were profound because I felt like it was speaking from my soul. I look back like Henry Rollins' first band SOA. I was obsessed with their EP and I memorized all the lyrics to all the songs. And it's like, I call her on the phone. Oh shit, she isn't home. And you never know, she ain't with someone else. Like he's just talking about like girl problems. It's like
this is pretty standard run of the mill.
It's really the most like regular dudes. Like I don't need no girl problems. I got problems as it is. I don't need to waste my time. I don't need no shit. Like all right. Apparently I thought that was profound when I was 12 or 13 or whatever.
Yeah. I thought, Linkin Park's I'm at the edge and I'm about to break. Like that's how you feel as a pubescent boy. You are gonna break all over the room.
Oh, all over the room, all over the refrigerator, dude, all over everything.
Yeah. Anyways.
So we get the first little taste of ska on track 2, Sound System, which I have heard a bunch of times and didn't remember that I had heard it.
It's weird. It's like a dream. I think I've heard it, but it still sounds new to me. And again, the lack of horns.
So wait, what is it about the horns in ska that's specifically the thing you don't like?
I think it could be done because we've given it, pun intended, we've given it up to songs with horns in it.
Definitely.
But I think there is this overtly happy, clean production style, and when you bring horns into it, it fucking like it pushes it over, like it's a bridge too far for me.
This might not be the what you're thinking of, but the way you described all that, I just think of the song Walking on Sunshine, and that's like the kind of like over the top, stupid, happy, bright, just fucking relax already kind of sound.
That is one of the happiest songs ever recorded. And
yes.
Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head because I've just like deleted so much ska from my memory. But like I said, I was bracing for the worst here, and there's some grit. If anything, it's more like early Clash ska than like whatever demon monster genre it would become.
I've always felt the Clash was way more reggae than ska at all. And there's only this out of this whole compilation, there's only one reggae song, and that's Take Warning, which I do hate. I do not like this song.
Wanted to hate that song so much, and it just gets stuck in my head. That slide thing they do on the guitar and bass, after they say "Take Warning," it just
dun, 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 take warning. Oh man,
yeah, it's been stuck in my head all day.
Oh Jesus Christ!
The only way to get it out is with a bullet.
Well, I'll see you soon, Grandpa. So the thing that they introduced very early on, and then it doesn't go away pretty much for every single ska song, like we joked in the beginning, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. I wanted to fucking stab my eyeballs out after like the fourth time of that. They do it on almost every ska song. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. It's so fucking corny. I can't take it. I can't take it with the fucking pick it ups.
It is corny. I felt like it was a smattering before. It's not until later on. Oh, here we go again. That's the worst, most offensive thing they've done.
So really, because Here We Go Again is one of the ones that I've heard a million gajillion times as a teenager,
Really?
and I'm fine with the song. It's probably just nostalgia, honestly, but I will give you that at that point, I wrote down in my notes, Christ, enough with the pick it up bullshit. I was done with it. I was really, really over it at that point.
That is an excessive amount.
It's a lot. It sucks.
Even Robert Plant be like, if those were babies, Robert Plant would be like,
woo, baby,
hey,
woo.
maybe reel that in. Maybe reel that in a little.
Holy
maybe,
crap.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise, man. Yeah. So for the album though, because the first 19 tracks are the Energy LP, and it does have pretty good pacing, actually. Like it does space. I mean, for most of it, it spaces it. It'll give you a punk one, it'll give you a ska one, it'll give you a faster punk one, it'll give you a slower ska one. It does the riffs. Sure, they sound all the same, but they are spacing it in a pretty good way. It isn't until the last chunk where they start to run out of steam, and it's just ska song after ska song, and it gets really rough. Like the one that broke me was Room Without a Window. That one, man, it follows Artificial Life, which is another ska song, which I don't like it. I'm not a fan. Whatever. I'm just getting tired of it at that point. It's another song with a bunch of pick it ups, by the way.
Yeah.
So Room Without a Window follows that. It opens with this super duper fast vocal intro, like high aggression, super fast, and then it yanks down all of the momentum and goes into a regular ass ska song that's way slower. It feels so demoralizing as soon as the beat comes in. It's just like, oh god damn it, another one of this. That's where the album, I think, loses steam, like at the very end. But before that, I think it's paced fairly well.
I would agree with you. I had a similar experience, although probably not as much hatred as you did. But yeah, I had a very similar experience where I was like, okay, this is their whole career, and I've said it before on bands I like. I will take everything you got on one compilation versus breaking it up. And yeah, that Room Without a Window is another one of those young, angsty punk rock lyric songs, and it's just fine to me on my young journey listening to Operation Ivy, and I don't know how much of it I'm going to listen to in the future.
Right. Seems like a very time and place type of album. Definitely time and place kind of, or a phase, like a phase album. If you stumble onto this new style and then you like the style, and then you start binging it, it seems like a good album for that. But what else do we got here? It just sort of depends, because there are songs that I think do things better than others, even though they're not that different. So I happen to be I could damn near say I like Bombshell.
Yeah, that's right up your alley. It's under a minute, although the whoa yeah parts are kind of, I thought those might drive you crazy, but apparently you're fine with it.
What won me over? The goddamn bass lines. So that's a thing.
There are good bass lines throughout this compilation.
There sure are. That's a thing that pop punk would adopt that ends up really, I found, just like hurt. Like they took it in a way and they use it in a way that I hate, because like a characteristic of pop punk, the way what I remember from our episode on All from forever ago was that at a certain point toward the end, when the album started getting really rough, simple guitar lines, crazy technical bass lines, really, really amazing drumming. And then the vocals are, depending on which vocalist was there, did whatever. That's what I think of pop punk. Crazy, fast, bubbly bass lines, simple guitars, fast drums. It's like that here, but it's not every song. It's only a few songs where the bass is going wild, so you're able to appreciate it. If every song had bass lines like Bombshell, I probably wouldn't like it as much.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice pacer.
It's an outlier, and since we're talking about outliers, Bank Shot is fucking fun.
Oh, I don't hate it as much as the others, but I don't love it.
It's their only surf rock song. I don't know how many people like the song Bank Shot, but it's probably my favorite song on the album.
I mean, it still is definitely a ska song, but
yeah,
not quite as reggae-y. Although they don't really go very reggae, aside from Take Warning, to be fair. It is more I don't know, clean, I guess, than because you get some other songs that are more like the hybrid style, like Unity, which is like the ska punk hybrid style. I just said that. Where it kind of they try to blend both of them, and it ends up being its own thing. You see this kind of song being copied a lot, in the 90s by other bands. And I don't like the song that much, but whatever. It's what I feel about it doesn't really matter. It's like it's a style album.
I was gonna say a song that I really wanted to like, and I listened to it a few times because I was like, I should like this song, but this doesn't work for me. Is Bad Town?
I knew it. I fucking knew it. But the whole time I knew. Why? I mean, I don't love it, but I do appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and like the horns aren't ska; they're
saxophones
like
for one. Yeah, they're saxophones.
Yeah, it's more jazzy, but it just I don't know. It doesn't click for me.
Because it's not. So what I wrote was the reason why I appreciate it and I gave it a pass is the saxes are well done. They're not doing anything too like goofy or hokey or anything. They're doing their job. They're well done. The song is a complete change of pace from the rest of the album, complete change of pace, but it is still an average song. Like I think its foundation is an average song that is performed well, that has smarter arrangements, that is a good for diversity. It's a variety song, so it feels different enough. So it ends up just being like, oh, all right, my attention switch is flicked on again because something different, not necessarily because it's a great song.
Yeah, you've had your palate cleanse now.
Having said that, that song leads to a pretty good chunk of the album, I feel like, which is Smiling, Caution, and Freeze Up. I'm fine with all three of those songs.
Yeah, Smiling, I think, is their most proto Rancid song.
Yeah.
Caution is interesting because it's very raw, and it's probably the song with the loosest time. It feels the loosest. It's not like this tight, fast thing. So there's room to be like loose punk rock, like a Black Flag, if you will. And then Freeze. It just that's where I kind of realized that. Oh, okay. People took this. They took pop punk and they took ska and they perverted it, much like like emo music.
With Freeze Up, that's where you could hear the things that it influenced. One, and I can say this about several different songs. I don't remember the others at the top of my head. The production is fucking all over the place on the album. You hear songs that sound like they were produced in a different fucking country. Like that's one where it sounds weirdly cleaner than every other song. Like there's songs that come out and they have like different. It sounds like they have different volumes, like they're mastered at different volumes. I don't think it's that extreme, but it feels different. Like all of a sudden, like that's a completely different guitar tone, and not in like a creative way, like in a production way, which is very unusual. Freeze Up is cleaner than the other ones, but the thing that stuck out to me about that one is the sublime ass sounding section or sections. I think it might be like the I don't know if it's the verse or the chorus. I forget which. The parts where it slows down, the slow parts, the sublime parts. And then as soon as I heard that, I thought sublime, like, oh shit, that's right. We covered Sublime long time ago. We did not enjoy it. And
just shameless self-promotion. I think the three closest, like, or I'll throw four, like, ska adjacent bands, or like Sublime, RX Bandits, The Police, and Bad Brains. And Bad Brains isn't even.
it's reggae. Yeah, they never did ska.
Yeah, and they didn't really try to blend the two.
Never. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was always like a very bizarre thing about Bad Brains, and I appreciated it that they never blended them. I mean, maybe they could have done it well. But I typically didn't like the reggae stuff except for like 2 songs, I think, in the entire discography.
Did you see a lightning bolt actually did hit the capital of DC the other day?
Shut the fuck up. Really?
I swear.
Holy crap. We got to bump that album, that Rory tape, just in honor. Holy crap. That's amazing. But yeah, you could see how this influenced Sublime, and yeah, it can't be blamed for that, but and I still think it's a fine song. And I do like the bass lines there, but it just made me think about that. And I am I don't want to be like shitting all over this too much, but I can't go without mentioning One of These Days. The song One of These Days is the worst cover of These Boots Are Made for Walking that I've ever heard. It is appalling.
Don't know about worse, but I just
I'm saying worst.
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care for it. I get what they were doing, but it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, and I guess I'm also a little biased because These Boots has one of the covers of These Boots is literally one of my favorite covers of all time, and that's the fucking Megadeth version, the Megadeth cover. I think the way they did it,
I didn't even know they did that
on their first album. And it's my favorite type of cover where they take it. He changed the lyrics and made them like raunchy. He sped it up. He made it like a thrash song, a really fun, high energy thrash song. And it was really well done. Crazy solos. And then, was it Lee Hazelwood? Is that the guy who wrote it? The original?
Yes.
He didn't like what Dave Mustaine did to the lyrics.
I'm shocked.
So he said, hey, I'm going to sue you. Fucking no. So what did Dave Mustaine do on the reissue? The funniest fucking thing. He remastered the whole album and made it sound way better. These Boots comes on. The song is in place, but every time a changed lyric comes up, it's just bleeped over the music. The music is still playing in the background, but his vocal is just bleeped, and it's still funny, and it's still a great cover.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's kind of why I still have like some love for Dave Mustaine, because he pulled that, and it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But this version, not a fan. What do you think of the original closer, Missionary?
So Missionary and Big City, just because they're close. The guitar in here is interesting because it's not like pop punk guitar where like Green Day would become, where the guitar in itself is catchy. And so it's like overall, it's just like the overall quality of the songs is what's catchy and sticks out. And so on Big City and Missionary, there's some fun guitar parts there that I like that stuck out to me. Interesting.
I wasn't too big on Big City, but I did like Missionary. Yeah, it definitely is. It's what you said, where it's if the whole, like this kind of thing. I also think this being a 50-minute compilation really hurts the experience, because even the album, I think, is like 37 minutes, which I feel is too long for what this is doing. If it was 20 minutes, I'd probably have some fun. I don't love it. Still not my thing. I'm not going to go back to it. It's not, but I think it's just more flattering to that kind of thing. If you're not going to be having wild swings and crazy different songs throughout, and it's just going to be the same type of thing, you got to make it easy to listen to. And because of that, I kind of prefer the EP that follows it, even though it's probably worse as a record. I mean, I'd say definitely worse as a record, but it is just very contained. So the Hectic EP starts at Junkies Running Dry and it ends with Healthy Body.
Yeah, even if that was like its own thing, it's still, well, for me, pretty weak. I'm all about value for your money, although I guess streaming that doesn't matter. So like as a kid, I would have loved that, you get the whole thing on one album. But yeah, there's this it does feel like they run out of some juice there. I think of that section, Sleep Long. Yeah, that one's just extra nasty to me, so it feels like an outlier amongst those.
Interesting. That's the one I hate out of the EP.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate any of these except Here We Go Again.
So Here We Go Again, Yelling in My Ear, and Healthy Body are all songs that I heard way too many times as a teenager. And I have like the little bit of like, all right, there's some funness, some nostalgia, but actually am annoyed severely by especially Yelling in My Ear and Healthy Body. Like I'm really just, but I do like Hoboken. It's good energy. It's a lot faster.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Junkies Running Dry is also fine.
Yeah, I think the faster songs have because it's more our style, and then it just it breaks it up so they just fare a little better.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I do think Healthy Body is a funny song because Tim Armstrong is the spitting image of healthy. When you think of healthy, you think of Tim Armstrong.
Yeah, you don't want all your teeth. That's actually bad for you.
Yeah, I know he probably didn't write the lyrics to that song, but still, he's in the band.
He's a guilty by association. And the compilation closes with Officer and I Got No, and I'm fine with both of them.
I think Officer's probably like one of the. Well, I don't know. It's one of the usually anti-cop songs I'm all about. Love me some Cop Killer, Fuck the Police, probably leaving some out.
There's a lot, especially in the punk scene.
Yeah.
Police Story. Yeah.
This one, I like the lyrics, but it does feel like they got the one riff.
They do got the one riff. I did prefer that song over many others.
Okay.
Because of the verse. I like the verse. The rest of it sounds identical. Yes, and yes. But the verse has a little bit of something that I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of mean sounding. It's pretty cool. And I Got No is one of the very few actually rhythmically different songs in their whole discography.
I didn't even pick up on that. It was, I was just in this Operation Ivy Sauce, and I'm like, most of these songs are the same.
They are mostly the same. It's a different drum beat. It's just a different drum beat. The riffs are exactly the same. Yes.
Okay.
But the arrangements are different. The drums are different. I caught that, and I appreciated that. But fucking not for me. I mean, obviously, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I don't like ska. I don't want to listen to ska anymore. We're going to listen to more ska on the pod at some point for sure. But
I hate it. Thanks.
Yeah. I could see why this resonates so much with teenagers for sure. And I've heard worse things, but
absolutely. I think it's, I get it. And I don't hate it. If I was in a car and someone put this on, I'm fine with that.
I wouldn't be as fine with that. But the things I can't get mad at it because I was thinking about this recently, coincidentally, about my window, or maybe even just everyone who goes through music phases, their window when something is either amazing or forgettable. There's a fucking window. And I noted both windows that I had for hardcore punk and for thrash, and the albums that associated with the closing of that window. So in my hardcore punk phase, whatever ages it was, there was this album I was trying to track down from a band. I think they were Dutch. I could find it in 2 seconds, called I can't pronounce it properly, but like Fritz Modern, Frites Modern. And I think they're from Netherlands. And there was this album that they had, and I was desperately trying to find it in the days of like blogs and whatever. And I couldn't find it. And it was driving me crazy. I eventually let it go. A lot of time passes. I'm getting out of hardcore punk, but I found it. And I was like, fuck yes, finally. And I listened to it, and then I'm hearing, I'm like, this is good. I would have loved this a year ago, but now it's just sort of okay. And then for the end of my thrash metal window was the band Death Row and the album Deception Ignored. And I liked the album a lot. And I remember thinking like, this is such unique, good thrash metal, but I'd rather listen to Soundgarden right now. I just feel like I'm just not into this. Like it's an interesting thing where you see the cutoff of when you're kind of done with a certain style. And my window for ska is long closed. So there's no chance of me coming back to this.
Yeah. For me, the only band I could think of is like, I loved that like new wave of American heavy metal. And, I remember Trivium coming out and I was like, I should love Trivium, but I think that window had closed and I don't hate them, but,
Yeah.
I was like, everything seems right and cool, but it's just not clicking.
Yeah, wrong timing. That's right album, wrong time. It's crazy. Yeah, that's kind of that is really how I feel about a lot of this 90s style or late 80s 90s style of punk, where they're not bad, but that window was, I was busy with something else. So these quotes from Jesse are kind of interesting. He says, okay, so I was in Op Ivy and we didn't always get along so well, but every time we played music, this magical thing happened where the songs came out and they were always really good. I just thought that was the way it was because I'd never experienced anything else. Boy, that is not the case for most people. He says, it was a big surprise to me when I realized that it's not always quite that easy. When I found out how lucky we were, if anything, I developed not so much a fame ego, but an artistic ego. Like, I can just make this musical art and it's always going to be that good. And that's just not true. That was the hardest pill to swallow. But I mean, it was a good lesson. Taught me humility, taught me to appreciate what I have. Now I'm in a band and I think we're pretty good. We're very part-time. I don't have any expectations, but I appreciate the fact that I'm playing with people and we get each other and able to do cool stuff. To have your first band and you're just with a bunch of people who can play well, that is, oh, you don't realize how fucking good you have it, man.
Yeah, it's a lightning in the bottle type thing too.
Yeah, because these days it's always like desperately searching for whatever instrument. Usually bass and drums are like the most sought after. For some reason, you think more people would be playing them because it's, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, and especially in my teenage years, looking at all the local bands where like everyone sucked. Like, how does everyone suck? Why does everyone suck? It doesn't make any sense.
It's interesting because I think there were talented people in like my group scene, whatever. And then it's just like, people, you got to cut your teeth. And that experience is invaluable. Like, I feel like I never cut my teeth properly. Like I lost out on something. So when I would go to like auditions or try to like start something, it just would fall apart for me. So
yeah, I mean, it does take sticking with it. It does take a lot of, like everything else, time, but it makes you appreciate good bands because during like what I remember from like metal bands when I was a teenager, there was like one band that was as good as the bands you listen to records of. And everybody else was just like copycats. And so yeah, for it to land that much with like a group, cherish it if you got it, man. Jesus Christ, fucking God. But then Jesse was asked about the question we're all expecting, the reunion potential. And this is like 15 years ago. So he says, I don't know. All I can tell you, and I wish I could be more definite, is that my life hasn't taken that direction and those guys' lives haven't taken that direction. I don't think any of those guys are planning on it, and I don't really talk to them about it. I think all of us are pretty happy with our lives the way they are. I don't think it would be a service to the legacy of the band to have a reunion. I think it would be more of a service to not have a reunion. People always want more, and I understand that, but sometimes less is more. Smart man. He says, take Minor Threat. Could you imagine a Minor Threat reunion? It'd be such a fucking disaster. I mean, it'd probably be a lot of fun, but it would be like, is this really necessary or helpful? The short answer is life is unpredictable, but there's no plan for it to happen. We don't want a Minor Threat reunion. We want it. We want to say that we saw Minor Threat, to hear the song, but we don't want that. Like, some things should just stay dead. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's like rumblings about a Fugazi one.
I will kill to see that. Will I?
That makes
kill?
sense,
Yes,
though.
I will.
'cause it's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I felt they're one of the most innovative and continually evolving. Check it out, son Fugazi. Continually evolving bands. My favorite bands of all time, and that is a band that can play anything over the course of their. What is it? I forgot how many albums they have. 6 to 8 albums that they have, probably 7, and they'll just evolve upon it. Like I don't remember where I heard it or read it, but like toward the end when they played Waiting Room live, it was a completely different song because they kept growing and they kept making the song better, even though it was recorded 10 years prior or 15 years prior. So that's the kind of shit where like I would like a Fugazi reunion. They don't have to do it, but I would like that. Minor Threat, that was a time and place. That was more about the time and place. The song is great, but they're old men now. I don't want to see old men doing hardcore punk. I don't think I've seen that before. That's kind of depressing.
And that's why Blink-182 is the funniest band ever, because they're in their 50s playing the wienerest, most juvenile music ever.
It is. Blink-182 is extremely wienery. Yes, they are very wiener. And I'm a hypocrite because I am so excited that Mike Watt is now playing with Flipper, and I would love to see that. It's just take your pick. Take your pick. I'm a fucking hypocrite. We're all hypocrites. We like the things that we like. That's the way it goes. But thank you so much for listening and watching and hanging out. And if you want to support us further, if you want to talk some shit, you leave a comment. All right, you know what to do. Subscribe if you like us. Hit the like button if you like us, and fuck off if you don't. That's simple as that. You can follow me on all social media at Panda Monkey. And Alex on Instagram at
Every Album Alex.
Please follow our history guy, Tom Osman, at Tom Osman Sounds on all social media, as well as TomOsmanSounds.com for all his music and his podcast, whatever comes next, where he interviews a bunch of indie musicians and underground artists. It's very cool. Link in the description. My EP, link in the description. And most importantly, Patreon, baby. Patreon.com/everyalbumever. That's where you go. You get bonus episodes. You get to see our schedules in advance. You get to vote on polls to decide who we cover next. You get to join the Discord, be a part of the community. You could suggest new albums when they come out eventually this year. New albums this year, you could suggest them to us. We'll do singles episodes on those. And if you're tier 2, then you can suggest a full discography in addition to any amount of bonus episodes. So there's a lot to do, a lot to do. It's very cool stuff. Okay. Closing it out. This is all you, baby. What you got?
Let's just take warning.
Fuck. All right. I said pick. There it is.
That's my pick. I said a different song was my favorite, but in terms of catchiness,
I suppose, even though we associate the word catchy with good, it doesn't always mean the song is good. It means the song is catchy. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. Thanks so much for listening and watching. See ya.